What did we really learn about the University of Virginia's loss to Houston this weekend? Let's discuss that. What did we really learn about the loss to Houston this weekend?
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law, Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, the first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Our title sponsor today is LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So yeah, as I was saying, in the open, UVA had a huge game this weekend. They had, quite frankly, in modern time, the most hoopla, or the most important game prior to conference play. Playing Houston, who is the highest ranked team to come to the JPJ non-conference to play UVA, who is also highly ranked at number 2. Houston was ranked number 5, formerly ranked number 1. And my question is, let's discuss, let's have a conversation about this. What did we really learn about the University of Virginia's basketball team? What we did learn is, they're no longer undefeated. They're 8-1. And just being there, I can tell you like this: the energy in the JPJ was absolutely electric. It really was. The noise and the sound was pumping. They had to have the music up to 10, in there. It was just an incredible atmosphere. I will give them that. So when people say that the fans don't come out, we're talking football fans here. Who say that, the fans don't come out, or they don't have the energy or the mood to come out. I gotta pull your card on that. I said, University of Virginia, if they want to come out, they will come out. You just have to give them something to root for. And I can tell you that environment is what college athletics are about. On the grounds or on a campus. It was everything that I was expecting. Of course, for a game like that in the media, we get there early, we get set up. I did a walk-in segment, before, I go through security, kind of give you guys a behind the scenes coming in, watching some of the guys warm up. But, Houston, my goodness, when I walked in and I was watching those guys, they looked the part. And just eyeballing, the eyeball test is what they call it. They were impressive just walking by them. I had my camera on them, phone camera, just recording. I mean, our guys, were our guys. Our guys look good too. But those Houston players, they were very athletic. They were very quick, quicker than I thought that they would be. And when I say thought they would be, maybe I'll say this: seeing them live and how quick and big they were was eye-opening. It was stunning to me to see how much quicker they were than the University of Virginia's basketball team. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that UVA did not have an opportunity to win the game, because they did, or to compete, and have a chance at the end. But they lost the game 69-61. Jarace Walker, man, if you haven't heard about this kid, he's one of the 5-star players who came out last year. committed to Houston. True freshman, 6'8", about 240. The kid has a complete game, man. He was shooting over Jaden. She was shooting threes. He wound up with 17, 7, and 4 assists. But that's not necessarily that's not necessarily giving you the whole picture of how effective he really was. He might as well score 25 points. How effective that how effective he was against Virginia. He passed out of double teams. He dribbled off of picks. He pulled up mid range. He backed down, faded away mid range on Jaden Gardner. And then when the game got close, when UVA would go on a 6-point run, 4-point run, 7-point run, he would knock down a three. And it happened like 3 times. Or he had three run stopping shots. 2 of them were threes, 1 of them was a 2. And he was just athletic. He was all over the place. His defense was tough. And that is combined with the other players on this Houston team who were absolutely a team that you're going to have to watch out for. Come Houston. Alabama beat them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Houston doesn't lose another game this year. They're that good, in my opinion. I think that they're that good. I think that if they can just continue to tighten up, they hit timely 3-point buckets as well. One thing that I really noticed that was really good about them was their passing. Their penetration, and their other guard, Sasser, who was pretty much maintained while Reece Beekman was guarding him. And we'll get to Reece, in a minute here. But he was pretty much maintained. And when I say maintained, I mean he had Sasser scoring no points while he was covering him. Now, outside of that, that's different. He did score 3 3-pointers when Reece was not on him. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what to look for. But UVA came out in the first half 9-0. I thought that, oh my goodness, they are gonna put up some great numbers. They're gonna score. And they were hitting outside shots. Kihei was performing. I felt like this team was preparing to play a game where the offense was back on track. So this is 3 games in a row at least where the offense has not been on track and they're not hitting their outside shot like they were in the beginning of the year. That's something that we're going to have to self-reflect on here. And I'll start with this self-reflection. We have to make our outside shots to make it to the Elite 8, Sweet 16. If we don't hit our outside shots, we can still play our tough defense. We can still get points, in a lot of different ways. Tony Bennett can scheme up all different types of plays, which he's great at. But if we're not knocking down our outside shot, which has been this year one of our bigger weapons when we have one, we're a totally different team. Just like everyone else, but I think it's a little bit different for the University of Virginia because they can be championship quality if they hit 40% of their threes. They were 6 of 22 to close out to end the game. All right. They were, I just felt like, if they could ever shoot 40% somewhere in that range from the 3-point line, we're looking at a completely different caliber of a team. They're already one of the best teams in the nation, but I'm talking top 4, 5 consistently. Because right now they're going to take a bump and they're going to, fall down the rankings for a little bit, and they may stay in the top 10 because when Houston lost, they fell to number 5 from number 1 to number 5. So UVA number 2 loses to number 5. Maybe they fall to number 9, somewhere in there. But we'll find out between today and tomorrow. But a lot of things that we have to continue to reflect on this. We're not finished with this. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be like 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster for free. You can go to your profile and add the purple #hiring to your frame on LinkedIn, on your LinkedIn profile, to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less. Plus, instant reactions, games, recaps, and Locked On's take of the day. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. As I said before, we're talking about reflection and, based off of this game and what kind of team are we, and what we learned. And what we learned also is this team, that Reece Beekman to the team. Reece Beekman is not 100%, and as he's not 100%, you can just tell on the defensive end, he can still shuffle side to side. He still has the quick hands, the IQ, but where you see he's he walks gingerly, and he's uncomfortable is on the offensive end. His explosion's not there. He was 1 for 6, 1 for 5. I think he had 4 points. Reece Beekman, the offensive side of the ball is where you're going to see him suffer, because of this hamstring injury. We do have a game this Tuesday, and we will talk about that game in a minute against Miami. But Reece Beekman, you can tell his hamstrings are giving him issue, or his hamstring is giving him issue. And who's to know? Who's to say that the ankle? I don't think the ankle's 100% either. So he's playing hobbled. Now, hopefully, this will clear itself up come the next month. They're gonna play Miami. Then they got another 6-7 days. Then they play Albany next Wednesday. So maybe they can play him a little and get him some rest. And then they play again on the 31st against Georgia Tech, I believe. But let's make sure, I'll keep a check on this and see where Reece is. But we're a totally different team without his contributions. His driving to the bucket, his distribution. I mean, he still had 4 or 5 assists, but just the threat of him scoring changes this team. I think he also, gives the team the ability to for a player to go one-on-one on the offensive side, handling the ball, and Reece usually could elevate. He was very athletic. Remember him going in and dunking over a couple guys a few games ago, before the injury. And that was just him driving, elevating, and finishing above the rim. He's not doing that now because of the injuries. And you can just see his explosion is not there yet. He's still healing from the injuries. So that's one thing from a self-reflection standpoint that I have to say. Another thing is Ben Vanderplas had a huge offer. 0 for 7. Shot 2 air balls, really bad missed air balls. He hasn't been in. He had a terrible game, one of the worst games I probably think of his career. Definitely his worst game playing as a Wahoo, but typically Ben plays a lot better than that. I think that this Houston team really had him flustered. I think their athleticism and quickness were giving him trouble, and I think that's kind of where we are with him against Houston. Houston just and don't get me wrong, Houston does this to everybody. So Ben is no exception to that. But he had a really bad game compared to how he's played here and how he's played over his career against these Houston Cougars. So yeah. So where we are right now and where we're trying to go and where we're trying to be, it's it's definitely a team that is still a work in progress, and we don't necessarily know exactly where we're going to be. I know a lot of folks say November college basketball, December college basketball, tournament, preseason, or early season tournament basketball is not that important for college teams, but I totally beg to differ. I totally disagree. It's become more and more important these recent years. Teams are trying to get better, and the reason why is because they need those ranked teams. They need to play the ranked teams. You guys ever heard of that Ken Palm rankings and all that? You need to have some teams on your resume. And UVA has a pretty good, has some teams on their resume. They played Illinois, they played Michigan, they played Baylor. They beat all those teams and they got to Houston. They lost to Houston, but it was a 8-point loss, and the team played outside of Caden Cedric. The team did not play great at all, and they still only lost by 8 points. They showed themselves a lot better than they did last year. Last year they got embarrassed, pretty much ran out of the building down there in Houston, but they did do a lot better this game. But if they make a few of those 3-pointers and they don't turn the ball over, that's another thing. They turned the ball over more than they needed to against this kind of a team. I want to say they were in the double digits in turnovers. You got to play smarter than that. They can't take chances. They have to have great ball security. Those guys play defense like UVA does. Their calling card is their defense. They shut you down and they run on you, and they do a great job of sharing the ball, getting it out to their defenders on the perimeter, and they make 3-pointers. I mean, Houston, man, I didn't know Houston, over these last few years are all of a sudden one of these really good teams, and it's been that way, like I said, for the last few years. Will they be there for the Elite Eight? They should. They look like a Final Four team right now, but the environment definitely was a championship environment. Another thing, defensive lapses. We had a lot of defensive lapses. I will tell you that. Our closeouts were not strong. We didn't have quick, strong closeouts, meaning running out at open shooters, running towards open shooters and making sure that you get them to adjust their shot so that they miss. And we were late on some of those. So that's another thing that that's on my mind that I've seen as well, so in some of my notes here. But this team can be an elite team. We just have to make our open shots, and hopefully going into conference play, teams will be ready. Our team will be ready to play, especially after this new year. So next game up we got is Miami. That's tomorrow night. That's Tuesday. 8:30 down in Miami. Miami's number 25, another tough team to play for us all the time. They're always tough to play, football or basketball. They always give us trouble. Coach Jim Larinaga from George Mason, coached up here, in the Commonwealth, but has been down there in Miami doing a good job. Miami's 11-1, number 25 in the nation. What do we do now, guys? We got to go out. We got to buckle down. We got to play in a tough environment, play good defense, and hit our open shots. We're gonna ask Reece Beekman to be a better Reece, and I know that he has to play kind of within himself, just based off of his injury. As far as not playing too wild out there, he has to really play kind of under control because I know he doesn't want to re-aggravate the injury. But we're going to need his defense on Wong for Miami. He's a good, big, athletic guard, and we're going to need Reece Beekman to stay in front of him. So UVA right now 8-1, going down Tuesday, and we will do a pregame show. That game's at 8:30, so we'll do a pregame show on my Seven Cities brand. Give you guys a little bit of a preview of what the game and what we expect, and also hopefully Ben Vanderplas can thaw out a little bit and play the game that we know that he can play. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From pro football to college bowl season to basketball and World Cup. We've got it all at BetOnline. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today to use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. So as we talk about the basketball program and where they are, let's shift gears and get into the football team. They had a big commitment from a sought-after defensive tackle out of a high school defensive tackle out of Florida, Fort Lauderdale to be exact. 6'3", 285 pound, big defensive lineman. 3-star. He was recruited by a lot of D1s. I'm telling you, a lot of Power 5 schools. Coached by Jason Taylor. Remember the superstar Hall of Famer pass rusher from Miami, played at Washington. Jason Taylor, is coached by him. So that's always great when you get tutelage from a Hall of Famer, on the defensive line. But yeah, Jason Taylor was his coach, and he committed to the University of Virginia. So, it doesn't go without saying that we've had another offensive lineman leave. That's Logan Taylor, another offensive lineman. I can tell you, this has been brutal for offensive line for University of Virginia. University of Virginia lost 5 linemen last year. 5 starters. 6 linemen also who had time left. And we've lost 3 this year. I don't know how a program recovers from losing that many linemen in less than a year. You're talking Logan Taylor. You're talking Zachary Tedder. You're talking John Paul Flores for this year. So I don't know. And then we were already a struggling offensive line. So there are huge, huge measures that are going to have to be made to fill these holes. I mean, where do we go from here? I need some advice from some of you viewers, listeners, and fans out there. Some of you folks who have a foothold in, some of the, who know some behind the scenes, when it comes to maybe some of these offensive linemen, And if you guys want some information more on that, you can also hit my girl up, Jackie Franchuli, at 247. She has all the recruiting news that you want. But I don't know what we do right now, guys. Losing this many offensive linemen, a program just doesn't recover the way that it is supposed to. So I don't know. Let's get to the spring game. I'm gonna worry about this. I can't help it. I'm just gonna worry about it because I don't know if we can field a good team come the springtime as well. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep this thing rolling. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, but football, the football team is just trying to rebuild and restructure itself. But yeah, losing those offensive linemen, that's gonna continue to hurt, and it's gonna hurt long term. Unless we have like 4 or 5 linemen just come in that are of good caliber and can play. Some of these guys are gonna have to play immediately. So we will see what the news is as signing days here, and also we'll see who's coming out of the transfer portal. I did hear some news of another receiver. Be on your media outlets to see who's coming in. But we need linebackers, we need receivers, we need offensive linemen. We just did get a quarterback. And there may be another quarterback. I'm not sure, but I will check with my sources to see, what's what. But like I said before, I thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, every day. I can't do it without you guys. And this is a dream. You check out the games, in the press box, and then you get a report on them. Like I said, thank you, Locked On. Seven City Shop Talk Sports is on tomorrow, with the team. And just stay tuned. We will keep you guys informed. And thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen today. Make sure you check out Locked On Sports Today, the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less. Plus, instant reactions, games, recaps, and Locked On's take of the day. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast.